Knowing this near universal pattern helps to assess new brands and existing ones.
What don't marketers know?
Quite a lot. Marketers largely live in an anything-goes world where the latest fashion or fad drives an awful lot of practice.
Segmentation is the recognition you can't serve everyone with equal satisfaction.
This is the Zach Ansbury Show.
Welcome. On today's podcast clip, we have Associate Professor Benedetta Crisafulli from Birkbeck, University of London, United Kingdom. So you were at Cranford University. Now, one of the other things you did there was you were a Deputy Course Director for Strategic Marketing. Did you want to explain that to me a bit? Because obviously these titles change between universities. So.
Yeah. In Cranfield doesn't have many marketing postgraduate programs. It's a postgraduate only institution. They don't have undergraduate. And in marketing, they only have one program, which is the MSc Strategic Marketing, and it's top ranked in the UK, second after Imperial. They put all the effort and all the money and everything in building the program, making it run well, have an advisory board for it. And there is usually a role of a director, which was a colleague of mine, Radu Dimitriu, and deputy, because the role of director is just too much if you don't have a deputy. So it was, as a deputy, I was literally supporting the director of the program in everything that concerns the actual program. So I was the running of the program. So attending and preparing for advisory board meetings, regular academic boards, but also, managing relationships with the student ambassadors. So we used to have student reps, making sure everything is running smoothly, students are happy. We used to have events throughout the year, social events, so managing a little bit of that. And one big part was also dissertation. So the dissertation component is we used to have company supported dissertations for most of the dissertations. So there was a little bit of company input into the dissertations, and managing a little bit of that, managing the allocation of dissertation to colleagues, and that was a big job. Yeah. So trying to help the director in doing so. So it was a nice job, and obviously if you are working with nice people, so Radu was a very good colleague and very friendly, so that made it fun as well. So.
Yeah, working with the right people can definitely help. Did you enjoy that sort of? I guess it's somewhat of an administrative sort of service.
It is. An administrative job.
I guess there's pros and cons of it. So I know the pros are you can build a bigger profile and stuff like that. The cons is that does it take away from your ability to conduct research yourself? Like, how did you find the role for your career?
I wouldn't say it excites me so much, but in the UK, I don't know. Maybe in Australia it's slightly different, but in the UK. You gotta do, so your workload is usually around 40% research, 40 teaching, and 20 admin. So you gotta do some admin in some shape or form. And when you are in your entry level position, it seems obvious that if you are able to show the skills that you can manage a program, then management of the program is your first attempt at doing some administrative role that can contribute to the group and to the school. And then you build up on that depending on where you want to see yourself going. But you got to do a little bit of that admin in some shape or form. The question of how much that takes out of your research time, it's a good question. I've been my philosophy has always been try to be smart in how you're doing these things. You don't want to overload yourself with things that are not necessary. So anything that is not strictly necessary, in my view, can be avoided. So whatever is strictly necessary. So you tend to have, the reality is there are some peak times and off-peak times. So peak times, you got to work around those. Off-peak times, you are totally dedicated to research and try not to touch anything that is admin related. So just completely put it in a box and open it when the time comes. So
sounds like a great strategy. So you then moved to Birkbeck at the University of London as a lecturer in marketing, and then got promoted after 2 years, which is a very quick progression. So congratulations there. What do you think your recipe to success or your secret to success in such a quick progression? Is there something you can point to, or a combination of things that you thought that was really what got me across the line? Or maybe
I think there are a number of things. So, I mean, I joined Birkbeck that at the time, Birkbeck still had that distinction, which was a bit of a silly one, between lecturer A and lecturer B. And lecturer B it was a middle level between lecturer A and senior lecturer. I think it's just a way of lengthening your career progression. So now, luckily, they have removed it. But I applied for lecturer B, so it was better than what I was in Cranfield. But I also, at the time, I also made it very clear to the dean and the committee that my aspiration was to try as much as possible to move up to senior lecturer once my curriculum was ready for it. I think going back to your question, what was the success? Progression by promotion is always harder. So than it is if you are applying elsewhere. We all know that. I'm sure it's the same there. So I had to tick the boxes that needed to be ticked. So, and I think in order to help me with that, I have a mentor at Birkbeck, which I decided to have. I used to have a mentor at Cranfield, which was a colleague of mine, Stan, who was very much a research mentor. He was there to help me with research, build my profile, create more opportunities for connections. When I joined Birkbeck, one of my first questions during my probation was, can I have a mentor? And the answer was, yes, of course, you can choose one. And I chose a colleague of mine who is Professor of Marketing, Kevin eBay, who is the most senior in the marketing group in the school and has made a career. He has been Pro-Vice Chancellor for internationalization until last year. He is very well experienced, has done a lot of funded research. And he appreciates my research, so he understands it. So I think that's very important, that they understand your publications, they understand your work. And on top of it, he's well experienced in academia more generally. He comes from Strathclyde in Scotland, has made a brilliant academic career over the years. So understands what are the box to tick at each stage. And he was very clear, you need these things. First and foremost, research. If you can have some funding, great. Teaching, do well on that. If you can do some innovation around teaching, great. You can claim that. And you're going to have some admin. So the only thing that I didn't tick the box for was the admin, because when I joined Birkbeck, I didn't quite have much admin other than being program director, and it looked like that wasn't enough. So I asked my line manager, can you give me something else, please? So I was very open. I want to apply for promotion. Give me more. Give me something that it's useful, though. Don't give me something that is tedious. And so that she was very good and asked me, is there anything in particular you would be okay to do? And I said, yeah, maybe, I can take that role, which was a role of overseeing the applications for the department. So it's not a silly job, but a tedious job, but not one that excites you very much, but also one that you can fit into your schedule very nicely. So it's versatile. Eden, yeah. So, and that's how that came about. So I think the answer to your question is the mentoring, and is the, making sure that you are able to have publications. I think that's the most important by far. And then tick the boxes for the other two, kind of teaching and admin.
No, I definitely agree. It seems to be that's almost a universal thing is, teaching, you have to be very good at it. You can't be a terrible teacher, that's for sure. But yeah, the promotion aspect or, research heavy, but also then like your balance 40-40-20 is definitely quality and quantity of publications, and increasingly assessing their impact. So things like Google Citations, Google Scholar Citations is a big one for us now, and H-indexes.
Oh, in the UK, maybe Birkbeck is different, but they are not too fussy about those. So they're not, even if you put it in the application, I think it doesn't have that much weight, although I think it does help. It's more about, nowadays, I think more and more, even at senior lecturer level, you got to show some funding. So you got to show that you're able to get funding. And as I'm sure you know, when you go into research councils, you have many failures before you get to something, and so that makes it all very tricky. I think it lengthens the process of, unless you're working with people that have done very big funded projects for many years, multiple times, and they can put you as a co-investigator or something like that, which I don't have.
Hi everyone, Zach here again, and just a few quick reminders before you go. If you're listening to the podcast and are considering incorporating it into your secondary school or university courses, then please let me know and I can guide you through the process. If you're enjoying the show and getting some insights from it, then please leave me a 5-star review on your podcast listening platform. It would go a long way to spreading the word. If you know someone who would benefit from this content, then I would be thrilled if you could consider sharing this episode and its knowledge with them. And finally, thank you for becoming part of the community for this show.